The NHL season is over, MLB playoffs are starting, and the NFL has completed 3 weeks already. Where has time gone? And as we ponder that question, let us ponder another more important one.
Who made a mess of it?
The answer is Chris Winkie. I always like to see if I make smart picking decisions by verifying if my teams also get started in the Turbush League. And it came as a surprise to me that Winkie wasn't starting the Jets against the Colts. Well, it came back to bite him in the ass as he not only missed out on 88 points from them, but also 26 points from his other awful New York team. Forget the 0-16 Lions. Will New York be the first city to go 0-32? In Moneyballin' It, I like to feature people who started their top 2 teams, especially when one of them is a 3rd or 4th round draft pick. But what do you do when only one person out of 16 starts their top 2 teams? You give them the Moneyballin' It nod. Actually, that's not true. TSSS Win also technically started his top 2 teams, but deal with it. Over in Hot Top Picks, compared to last week, we have a lot higher positive scores and a lot worse negative scores. Afshin's Jets omission is quite apparent on the left side, and on the right, we had one taker try and find a good time to start Kansas City, and of course it backfired. Buffalo might turn out to be one of the worst draft picks at the end of the year, but now it's time to talk relegation, where Jay Cutler actually had a respectable 27-point week and is now only 7 points out of the relegation zone. But let's let facts be facts and admit he's still in 8th place, and now his first-round draft pick, Chicago, may have turned to a debatably better quarterback in Nick Foles. Over their careers, he has averaged more touchdowns per game, less interceptions, and far less sacks for fumble opportunities. It's entirely possible his 27 points in Week 3 will be his highest bad quarterback league score of the season. But enough negative talk, let's see who's on top in Week 3. Why?
It's me, Mario!
I was licking my chops when I started the Jets, and they did not disappoint. I don't know what Winkie was thinking. Tony Banks pulls a Johnny Football and moves from 7th to 1st in 1 week. Cade McNown was the other big winner this week, going from 5th to 2nd with a smart start of Denver's quarterbacks, because it featured a safety and a benching. Suddenly, drafting Pittsburgh as your first-round pick isn't stinging so much. Chad Hutchinson is one of only 2 remaining players in the Kirsch League who have remained in the top half all year, but he will need Miami to play worse than they have been the past 2 weeks to stay there much longer. The other player who hasn't seen the bottom half of the league yet is TSSS Win. He can thank his picking for that, as he's found a top 2 team 5 out of 6 attempts so far this season. Johnny Football drops from 1st to 5th after a pedestrian week where, despite picking his top 2 teams, they just didn't produce. You would think a first-round pick that has already seen a backup quarterback make a start would be big points, but the Chargers have only scored a total of 15 BQBL points this season.
Go figure.
Wade Wilson has teams of extremes, which I suppose one would expect with the first overall pick and the last pick. Washington has been decently bad as expected, but the Buffalo pick isn't looking too hot. He will need the football team to perform much worse to keep him out of the relegation zone. But the NFC East is awful. Through 12 total games, 6 of his teams have scored positive and the other 6 have scored negative. A true minefield to navigate. Starting the season in 2nd place, Johnny Effie Moxon now finds himself in 7th, only a point away from dead last. Burrows is getting better, Matt Ryan has been lighting it up, and he's missed out on the best Buck and Jag starts. What's frustrating is that his teams have a combined NFL record of 3-8-1. Jay Cutler finally got a good start out of Vegas, but what's interesting is that unlike Moxon, his team's combined NFL record is 8-4, and his one team below 500 has Drew Brees on it.
Yikes.
Joe Marcus Russell! Didn't I tell you guys he's going to win it all this year? And here he is! 56 points, baby! I swear I don't have any outside bets on the outcome of the Turbush League. Russell's in first as he milks Denver while they are incompetent. Jeff George steps aside for 1 week as he gets some later draft pick starts out of the way before probably taking it back over as later next week. Steve Grogan only fell because of the risk he took by starting Mahomes against Baltimore, a risk I'm sure many of us would have taken if we had Kansas City on our squad. Winkie falls to 4th, but he won't stay there long with the Jets. Wishful thinking on my part. The game ball this week, though, goes to our new 5th placer Mark Sanchez for his excellent Baltimore start. It's only a shame you chose Carolina over your other 2 choices. Holt Quinn Whedon finally sees some grass as he's dug out of the hole he dug himself, but he's sad that he also didn't start the Jags. Meanwhile, we have Tim Tebow and Ryan Leaf. What do we even say about these 2? Let's talk about Houston instead. They've played an absolutely brutal schedule in their first 3 games, and Deshaun Watson is only scoring 5 bad quarterback league points. That makes me scared about what he's going to do against easier opponents.